This is tutorial number 8. We're going to create a view to add a dwarf to the table view. It's an involved tutorial. I'm hoping that we can get it done with one. First thing we want to do is add the class and the nib file. And we can do that in one shot. We go File, New File. You want it to be the UI View Controller subclass under Cocoa Touch. Remember last time we chose a table view. Now we're just choosing a UI View Controller, and we want a nib here as well. I believe we did that with the Root View Controller as well. We're going to call this Add Dwarf. Whoops. Dwarf View. Okay. I mean, you can call it something that, because really what it is, it's going to control the add dwarf view, how we're going to add the dwarf, the name, and so on and so forth. And we're going to save that. We're going to drag the nib in the views for a moment. We're going to drag the others into the classes. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Now we've got to create an outlet and action. We need those because we're going to have two things on our view. A button which saves what we want, or the name of the dwarf, and a text file which we type in the name of the dwarf. So IB outlet UI. This is the first time you've seen this. It's a text field. Whoops, sorry. Text field. Okay, that's our outlet. And over here we need an action. The action always comes after the braces. That's a method, in a sense. So yep, got to get the words right here. And this is going to be called Save Dwarf. And we need to have that ID type. Oh, sorry. There we go. And of course sender, because we're sending the action to and from something. Okay, so we did that, right? We have a text field. We're going to type in the dwarf's name, and we're going to save it with that, with the action. Okay. We want to set this text field blank on appear in the onAppear method. Some of your methods won't be seen initially. You notice our implementation is not complete because our action method isn't written. I'm going to just type under here void, and now there's the view will appear method right here. We want that one, bool animated, right, and so on. The first line I'm going to put in here. Yep, there it was. Right there. Actually, no, it needs to just be will appear. I apologize. View will appear. Animated, yes. And you want that to say yes. It's a boolean on the animated right there. This is a boolean, so it has to be a yes or a no. We want it to be yes, of course. And we can type our code underneath there. The super, by the way, is the opposite of self. Super means everything above this class should have appeared first, and then this class will appear. The self is this class. Those are the two possibilities you have. Okay, so text add dwarf dot and it's the text property. Set the text equal to, and always use the @ sign, and we're just going to put in yeah, that's it. We're going to type above that, set the, oh, I need two slashes, I'm sorry here. There we go. Set the text field to blank, to a blank. Alright, and then over here we have another piece of the puzzle here, which is make the text field the first responder. Now, what is that? You need the text field to be the one to pick up the action first before anything, because you're going to be typing in there. That's why we do that. We need the braces for this. We're going to call a method, right? And it's called the becomes first responder method. Hence, the dwarf field becomes the first responder. Alright, so we're good there. We're going to save that. We're going to come back here. So that's done, and we want to add the save dwarf method code. Before we add that, a few things we have to do. We're going to add a class. We've done this before, and it's going to be a familiar class to you, right? We need access to the demo app delegate. This is how you do it, right? And we need to do that because we want to modify the array, and we want to do it from this class through the demo app delegate, so when it comes back into this class, it's correct. So we're going to see how we're doing that from one class to the demo app delegate, and then this class goes to the demo app delegate to then correctly populate the table view. Alright, so then what we're going to do here is we're going to do something that's also familiar. We got to light this up. We got to light this demo app delegate information pipeline up again, and we've done that before, right? And app delegate equals oh, one other thing, almost forgot. We also need access to the demo app delegate in this file, and so we have to import it as well. Otherwise, we cannot type in. I'm just trying to type in. So whenever you import something, and you remember we import, if you recall, we import into our implementation, we class in our declaration. Okay, so now we can type in here what we want to say, which is, there it is, demo app delegate. UI application, shared application, and then delegate, and we need two here. Haitian delegate, right? Okay. So that lights up the information pipeline for us. Alright, and go back here for a second. We have to add that method here for saving what we type in our dwarf, right? Oh, we're going to place that, at the end here, right? There it is. as it pops up in IntelliSense. Okay, this is going to be simple. Add the name to the array. And it looks like this. App delegate, list array, add object. So what are we going to add? Well, we know it's the text add dwarf text file text field, but it's not just that, it's the text in the field, right? Okay. So this will basically say, okay, add it to the array, and then we need something to dismiss the view. Right? And we have to use the self-navigation controller. Dismiss modal view animated, and of course the Boolean is yes. And that has to be in brackets because it's a method. That. Okay, beautiful. Oh, and we need to close that out properly. There we go. Okay. Alright, so we have the code for our save button. Then we have to create a cancel button. And that is done in the viewDidLoad method. Before we do that, we're going to add something nice here. The title of our view. I'm going to call it add. Add dwarf. Alright. That's the title of the view. And then of course now to create the button, it's a self-navigation item. The left bar button, UI bar button item, and you're going to allocate that, then initialize with bar button style, and the style is the item cancel, and the target is self, which is the class, and the action at selector, and this is going to be a cancel clicked action. So we're going to have cancel clicked, and then we're going to auto release it. Now the auto release, if you don't know what the auto release is, I don't like using it, and it's in books they will tell you never or rarely if ever auto release anything, always release it correctly manually in the code. However, you can use it. In this case, what's going to happen is it's going to create our cancel button, and then when we dismiss it, it will auto release it. So it's perfectly legal to do this in code. We're going to say create the cancel button here, right? Okay, and that creates our cancel button. The other thing we have here, and code the method for the cancel button. That doesn't appear. We got to code that. Which will be, if it's a, I just want to check from one other. I always get confused with this. You would just bear with me for a second. Here it is. It's a void. Okay. The cancel clicked method is here. It is a voided method, and that's what I'm trying to remember. It's not an action. This cancel method, clicked method, by the way, we're coding it here so it's not considered an action method here, just to let you know. And of course ID, right? And of course the sender. And okay, so what happens with the cancel click method? Why do we need it? If you click cancel and you want to get out of the add screen, you need that. Otherwise you don't get out of it until you add something, right? Because when we added something here, we can dismiss the modal view controller. Well, if we want to just get out of it, we'll just copy this code here and just place it right in here. It's the same code that we need. And what we're saying is we want to just get out of the view, so dismiss the view. And that's that for that. There is one more. We missed it over here, the text field resign responder code. And this one, it's never, you don't ever see it as part of a method, but you need it. In other words, you don't, when you start typing in IntelliSense, you won't see it. So this is one of those that it's a Boolean. Text field should, I just want to make sure I got the code right for this again too. I'm going to go back to one of my other examples here. Should return, we're going to copy this, actually the whole thing. We only need to do that. This is easy enough for us to do that. And again, this doesn't appear. Alright. It's a Boolean. Text field should return. Class of the UI text field called the text field, this variable. And resign it. So what is this telling us? It's telling us this. It says, okay, look. The text field in our code became the first responder right here. But we want to end it from after we start typing in and we hit done, we want to move away from the text field and close out the keyboard. There's a keyboard that appears in the nib, and you've seen this before if you've run apps where you start typing in. When you start typing in, you won't see it, we won't even put it in here, but it appears. So you have to dismiss that. If you don't dismiss that, what happens is, right, it'll stay up, the keyboard will stay up, and that's what this does. It gets rid of that keyboard for us. Alright, I want to get to the point, actually I may not get to 5 in this one here, I'm hoping to. I think I'm going to get up to 3 and finish 3 for you today, and then we'll go back to 4 and 5 in the last tutorial. So let's, we've done all of these here. We've added our outlet, our action, our text field on appear is blank. It becomes our first responder, then it of course resigns, and our keyboard goes away. And then we add the save dwarf method code. We code to create the cancel button, and then code the method for the cancel button, which we did. So really at this point right now, all of our code is in our class for our adding. We have it all there. Alright? We are not going to see this text field. Click it here and drag it over. Alright, and then we want to add in our round rectangular button. I don't want to run too long, so I want to get to this part where everything is configured here, and then when we get to the next tutorial we'll finish it up. It's a lot in one tutorial to get. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. Okay, I'm going to click the text field. I'm going to put a placeholder in here which says add, or here, new dwarf name, and you're going to see that, okay, when this view comes up. I'm also going to center it, and that's what these buttons here do. The alignment, I can go right, I can go left, I can go center, right? You don't want to put any of this stuff in a background image and what have you. On the keyboard here, this is the keyboard information. We're only going to capitalize the words we're going to leave the correction, the keyboard default, and the appearance default. The return key is going to say done. We want it to say done, and we want to auto-enable the return key so that when I'm done typing, when I'm finished typing, what happens is, or actually I correct that, when I begin typing, I enable the return key or the done key, and if I stop typing, of course the done key will be enabled. If I backspace all the way, it'll be disabled. You'll see it. I'll go through that. You'll see it. Here, I'm going to click into my button here. My title for my button here will be Save. Save Dwarf. Save name. We'll call it Save name. Okay. And I'm leaving it as rounded rectangle. Custom wouldn't be a good idea. I want to have an actual button. When you drag these, you'll notice you see these lines here, right? I'm going to pull this out all the way until it's exactly the same width on that side as the text field. Now I'm going to do the same here. You can also color this button any way you want. There's nothing else to really modify. You have alignment of the button, of the control as well, and you can play with these if you want. And everything else pretty much, again, you can look at these things here. We want user interaction enabled. Otherwise, hitting the button won't do anything. So, alright, so you can monkey around with some stuff if you'd like, but we're going to just, leave this as is right now. And we're going to then double click on our text field, and we're going to drag the delegate here to the file's owner and make it the delegate. Now that only delegates information from the text field to the owner, and then the referencing object, we need to drag that one as well, and that's where we need to connect our text field to it. So we're good there. By the way, if you don't, go back for a second, if you don't connect the delegate to this, what will happen is it will not respond, or the keyboard will stay up and you will not be able to interact with it properly. You can try that. Try breaking that connection and see what happens. Okay, and of course over here, this one becomes a little tricky. It's not too bad. I'm going to open this up a little bit. You have lots of send events, or sent events, pardon me. Which one is the one that an iPhone app typically uses? This touch up inside. When you touch a key on an iPhone or an iPad or an iPod touch, the touch up inside one is the one that connects, and we want to save dwarf, right? So everything's connected there. Alright, and I'm just going to go back one more thing to finish this out for now. I want to make sure we have everything here. Let's see. Yeah. Should return here. Okay. So we're going to go back to our text file here. We added the text field, added a button, connected each to the outlet and the action, and configured each the way we wanted it. And that's going to do it for now. When we come back in the 9th tutorial, we'll go to the root view controller and connect the add button to the proper code and launch this view and add to our view. And that's it for now. So see you in tutorial 9.